Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Good afternoon and welcome to this hearing of the Budget and Finance Committee. Today is Monday, September 16th, 2019. I'm Paul Krikorian, Chair of the committee, joined by my colleagues, Mr. Blumenfield and Mr. Price, and we're ready to begin today's meeting. Members, we're going to start with our general public comment and public comment on all agenda items. And then I'll have some proposals for consent, and then we'll move into closed session. So we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Previn, followed by Arnold Sachs. Mr. Previn, you can do your multi-items plus your general public comment.
Thank you, sir. So, Eric Previn from Studio City, and right off the bat, I'd just like to talk about Motorola, one of the national treasures of an old world company that uses all sorts of weird techniques, and including item 5 today, where I'm just going to quote, as such, the MSA serves as an umbrella agreement to be utilized when the LAPD requires services from the contractor for a particular project that meets the description scope of the MSA. So this means basically we don't do any more competitive bidding. They'll take care of everything. And I feel that there's a perception with this company that everybody has to get in line with that attitude, or they're somehow disloyal to law enforcement or to what it means to be blue. And I vigorously disagree, and I know Blumenfield disagrees. But I don't know whether you're going to do anything about this, and I really think you should, because I think that in addition to being hosed at the county during the LA RICS period, which is a long period, where estimates have been as high as $1 billion wasted trying to get everything organized. I know there was a big fight. You guys opted out in 2011. But this is extremely bad, and to not do competitive bidding in the state of California is something like un-American or something like that. Now, that said, thanks to Koretz for showing up late over and over again to miss the Billy the Elephant litigation. Obviously, Lily Tomlin, we appreciate what she's doing, and I certainly hope it's not going to cost the people too much. They violated the CPRA at the zoo, if you can believe it, Mr. Price. I find it's just shocking, because last week we had the Allie Winston case where they were, refusing, the LAPD was refusing to give IMSA records. That's the same thing that the Israelis were alleged to be listening to cell phones at the White House. We're in a very bad area with the cops. And then McNicholas and McNicholas at item number 4. Here you've got Mahoney, gentleman who's got some seizures now. They retaliated against him, and here comes McNicholas. When I checked in late 2016, the man had 20 cases of the very same kind, where they bring in a cop who's disgruntled and upset, and then take us for a lot of money. And we just need to have law enforcement management. Give me my general public comment. Thank you, sir. The general public comment, I'll just finish that thought. We need to have a management. I don't know where Chief Moore, these guys never show up anymore, but we need to have management who are going to put this to rest. We can't have law enforcement officers being hazed or this guy was being teased about having seizures or something. I mean, I just get tired of it. I think everybody gets tired of it. And sir, how can McNicholas go around giving money to all the, Mr. Fuhr? I think in November of 2014 he gave you money. It's just unseemly. These guys, the lawyers, the lobbyists, we've got Motorola. I don't want to get into their giving pattern. Everybody knows that Englander, Knabe and Allen, our treasured partners, the lobbyist firm, linked to Mr. Englander, who disappeared, evaporated one day, and had in his place Greg Smith, the waste management lobbyist. Folks, it's called the revolving door. It's a problem. We need to clean up our act. And I think people like Blumenfield understand that competitive bidding gets the public a fair deal and a good deal. Not just brothers for life to be elected next season, but actual stuff that works and functions. And we have a good, feeling with the public because we're doing a fair thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. Sachs?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. So let's see. On this, I held item number 5. So are you in line now with the county's LARICS program? Is that what that's? I'm pretty sure that's what that's about, funding to finish up the gap in communications. With all this electronic movement, next gen, autonomous buses, autonomous driving. Have we had a discussion in the budget? I don't know if I can include this as my public comment or not, but job loss, who's going to get the jobs when you go like business to business? Who's going to get, what positions are going to be eliminated? The Domestic Violence Assistance Program that was number 6, that's funding for the 9/11 victims that went to assist in New York. I'm sure of that. Number 8 refers to capital improvement expenditure program. Can somebody define what a capital improvement is? I know I asked this question in Public Works. What is a Public Works project? Would sidewalks fall into capital improvement? I mean, you're paying probably over, in the time that I've been coming to these meetings, $1 billion in trip and fall accidents for sidewalks. Do you think that would be a public improvement, a capital improvement, and save that money and do something else with it? Like, I don't know, maybe pave some streets. Maybe that's a capital improvement expenditure. It's weird. And we haven't heard anything. I know I'm going to get in trouble here, but that's okay. I'm used to getting in trouble. I think that's pretty much it for my items on the agenda. So, public comment, the funding that comes and goes in the city, how does that operate? How do you guys sit here or sit in that council chambers with a straight face and not mention a penny about what's going on with marijuana sales and the money that's being made and the money that's being spent? It's being spent in different parts of the community, but it doesn't show up as any kind of, like, I don't know, capital gain. Where's it going? It's going somewhere. And the taxes not being spent. They just did a report in the newspaper about all the money that's being, it's a #1 cash crop in California. How can that be? By the way, I see ads in the downtown news about the new normal. The new normal is getting high. What was the old normal? The old normal was not getting high, fighting drugs. We probably spent more in the last 30 years fighting drugs than we've spent in the last 70 years before that.
All right.
In the country.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs.
Good idea.
All right. Members, that will close general public comment. It will close public comment on all items. And I'd like to propose items 6, 7, and 9 for consent approval, unless there's objection. If there's no objection,
So what's the number?
6, 7, and 9. If there's no objection, it will be the action of the committee to approve the recommendations on items 6, 7, and 9. We're going to hold item 8 and number 5 as the remaining regular agenda items, and I'd like to then proceed into closed session, beginning with item number 1, unless the city attorney's office would like to recommend priority for anything else. We'll start with number 1 and go in numerical order. So if you're not here on number 1, if you could please exit the room, we will call you as we do. All right, we are back in open session now, and just for the record, I failed to note that during public comment, before we went into closed session, before we took up consent, Mr. Kretz was here as well. So we're going to go ahead and hear item number 5 next, please.
Item number 5 is continued from September 9, 2019. It's a city administrative officer report relative to the 10th, 11th, and 13th amendments to contract number C123897 with Motorola Solutions, Inc. for the upgrade and maintenance of the computer-aided dispatch and land mobile radio systems. The Public Safety Committee approved this matter on August 28, 2019, and it's a time limit file with October 15, 2019 as the last day for council action.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So maybe you could just give us an overview of the contract, of the procurement process involved with this contract, why an amendment is appropriate.
Tyler Munhall with the CAO. This contract was initially authorized by the mayor's office as a master services agreement because of the technical specificity that Motorola can bring to the servicing of the department's radio equipment. The city attorney approved it as a sole source agreement, which because of that reason, and so each amendment is reviewed by the city attorney to determine whether it conforms to the sole source requirements. Subsequently, the council approved an extension of the contract so that it would go for 5 years. It was initially approved for 3 years. And so now it is the department is requesting that an additional 5 years be added to the contract, as well as approval for several amendments to add additional funding. In summary.
I'm sorry, I should have asked at the very beginning if you could all please introduce yourself for the record. Sorry.
Tyler Munhall with the CAO.
Jeff Jantz with the LAPD X Division.
Monique Turner, LAPD Application Development Support Division.
Sorry. Anything else that you wanted to add? No. All right, members, this has already been heard by the Public Safety Committee. Any questions about the recommendations of the Public Safety Committee? If there's...
Do we have a value for this the addition?
The 13th Amendment would add, the First Amendment, or Amendment 10 and 11 would add $358,002 in total, and the 13th Amendment would add $254,111.
And extending the term.
For a term of 5 years? 5 years, yeah. Term of 5 years.
Through
May 7th, 2024.
Okay, members, anything else? Is there any objection to concurring in the Public Safety Committee action, approving the item? Seeing none, that will be the action of the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and that brings us next to item number 8.
Item number 8 is a CEO report relative to the 2018-19 capital expenditure program year-end reappropriations.
And for the record, Mr. Blumenfield has left the committee. This had been, I was going to propose this for consent approval, members, unless there's questions or concerns about anything in the capital improvement expenditure program? Any questions? Okay. There being no questions about the report, it will be the action of the committee to approve the recommendation. And there being no other business before the committee, we are adjourned.